Cryosthesia exotic sidearm released during Season of the Splicer, and it came out half-baked, but after a recent patch, I managed to pick it up, and it's super fun to use now. Today I'm going to present to you a Warlock PvE build that focuses around it, keep combatants from getting anywhere near you, and flexible enough to kill any champion. This is also going to be my last season of the last build, with Witch Queen just around the corner. Stay tuned. To kick things off, this build is suitable for any content in PvE, with the exception of Master and Grandmaster content. It's ridiculously fun to use, flexible, and will make solo Lost Sector farming a breeze. It's an ad control build that is based around freezing targets at close quarters and deleting champions with a couple of bursts. More of that to come. Before we head to the nitty gritty, leave a like to give me the favour of the YouTube algorithm, and more importantly, subscribe to help my channel grow exponentially instead of steadily. Right, let's get started. To get the best out of the Cryosthesia, we will be using a Shadebinder build. We will start with the Ice Flare Bolts aspect, shattering frozen target spawn seekers that freeze nearby targets, extremely useful for this build due to the close quarters nature of it. As this will inevitably chain freeze targets, we can use the Grim Harvest aspect to spawn stasis shards upon freezing targets, which grant melee energy. We will obviously be using this as our base to build out this setup to enhance the gameplay. For fragments, we can utilise Whisper of Rhyme to grant overshields on stasis shard pickup, and as we will be freezing targets at close quarters, Whisper of Conduction, which will enable the shards we spawn to track to our location, meaning you don't have to run into the swarm of ads trying to kick your ass. So, picking up stasis shards grants you melee energy, health or shield regeneration, and track to your location. Still with me? Great! Whisper of Bonds grants you bonus super energy on defeating frozen targets. We will be doing a lot of that, so you should have your super quite regularly. The final fragment I decided to use was Fissures. This grants you bonus damage on shattering targets. This will enable you to chain kill ads that are grouped up. With the Shadebinder build set up out of the way, we can now take a look at the main focus of the build, the exotic sidearm that has been reworked and is now very viable in most content. The Cryosthesia 77K's functionality used to be swapping firing modes and freezing a single target, and consume the entire magazine. Now it does an area of effect freeze mechanic in PvE and only consumes a single shot, meaning you can freeze groups of ads with a single shot, finish them off with the sidearm, and load up another free shot. It's a great tool for any stasis build, but mainly synergizes with Warlock builds as it grants the ability to create shards on freeze. Sidearms are obviously close quarters weapons, so pairing a special weapon in the current fusion rifle meta can be a bit tricky, as fusions are also close quarters. This is why I went with the Glacioclasm high impact frame. If you got lucky during the Dawning event, you may have snagged the Subsistence Reservoir Burst roll. Not only does it have more range than the other archetypes, this particular roll on kill refills the magazine, meaning you can get constant reservoir shots as long as you don't run out of ammo. It means you can challenge at close to medium range, and despite the archetype of high impacts being poor, this roll makes it actually viable. Elemental shards will convert your stasis shards into elemental wells, not only granting you the before mentioned melee and overshields, but also grenade energy. Pair this with elemental charge also, further enhancing your build to grant you stacks of charge with light. What this combination does is turn your shards into elemental wells, which in turn, the wells will grant you charge with light stacks, essentially meaning you will always have a source of stacks as long as you freeze targets. For the heavy slot, I've decided to go with Ascendancy, but really, the heavy is entirely up to you. In this case, I utilised my stacks of charge with light and infused them with the Argent Ordnance mod, enhancing the rockets you fire to do more damage, but in this case, pick the heavy that suits your playstyle. For exotic armor, I picked Eye of Another World. This enhances your ability regeneration when you are out of stasis shards, granting you melee and grenades quicker. Now for the champion killing aspect of the build, Fire and Ice will grant you with an array of elemental wells on kill, granting you all the bonuses mentioned throughout the video. Barrier champions in particular are super easy to kill, freezing them with cryo, a rocket, and one fusion burst kills them instantly before they can even put their shields up. For overloads, Thermoclastic Strike will stun them with a stasis melee and fully regenerate your melee. The trick here is to freeze them with cryo first, then melee. This will break them out of stasis and stun them, allowing you to 2-burst them with Glacio. To finish things off, Particle Deconstruction. Shock, I know. This mod is so overpowered that it's getting boring now, but it will help clear out the champions. For Unstoppables, Unstoppable Sidearm will do the work. The rest, you know what to do. That's it folks for this build. It's not OP, but more importantly, it's fun. It will struggle in higher end content, such as Grandmaster Nightfalls obviously, but for easier content, it's quite satisfying and helps solidify the Cryosthesia, becoming a good pick for stasis builds. Go check it out, it's definitely worth it. Let me know in the comments what you liked about this build, and let me know how you are using this exotic sidearm. This is the last build from me this season, and with Witch Queen nearly here, more Crucible content will be on the way. Check out my social media links and drop me a follow. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you for watching. Until then.
Fight forever, Guardian!